When we say metal, the first thing we think of is its shine. Have you ever wondered about the metallic sheen of bugs? Is this one made of gold? Look how this lovely bluish-green metallic beetle resembles one of the ores of copper. Is it a copper-plated snake? An insect with a metallic effect similar to that of iron ore. It may be difficult for you to pick up this fish if it is kept in an aluminium box. Look at this periodic table. You can see that most of the table is occupied by metals. Elements in the segments A and A prime are metals. Elements in the segments B and B prime are non-metals. In between these two segments, you can find segment C. Elements present in segment C are called metal lines, since they have the characteristics of both metals and non-metals. Though hydrogen is a non-metal, it has a unique status in the periodic table. These metals are further classified into alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, transition elements, inner transition elements, also called rare earth metals, and other metals. Non-metals are classified into halogens, inert gases, and other non-metals. We have metalloids that have both metallic and non-metallic characters. Examples: silicon, germanium, astatine, antimony, and polonium.
So starting with the physical properties
Let's see
of
some
metals
examples of
and
metals and non-metals. Calcium is a metal and sulfur is a non-metal. Sodium is a metal because of its reactivity with water. It should be kept in oil. Oxygen gas is a non-metal. It is a vital gas for living beings. You may have seen oxygen cylinders in hospitals. Lead sheds are metal. Chlorine gas is a non-metal. Copper is a metal. Hydrogen is a non-metal. Being a gas, it is stored in cylinders. Aluminium is a metal, and liquid bromine is a non-metal. Look at this zinc sheet metal. Nitrogen is a gaseous non-metal kept in a cylinder. You may have seen the metal lithium in batteries used in calculators, watches, etc. Helium gas is a non-metal. It takes you high in the sky. Most metals are solids. Non-metals are mostly liquids and gases. There are a few exceptions in both cases. Mercury is a liquid metal. Other examples are cesium, francium, and gallium. Though iodine is a non-metal, it is a lustrous solid. However, on heating, it sublimes into gas. When a metal is finished, it takes on a shiny appearance. This is called metallic luster.
So metals have a metallic luster, that is they are shiny. See in this figure you can see that the spot that is lying here, it is shiny. So first property of metals is that they are shiny.
Non-metals do not acquire a metallic appearance when polished.
And when we compare metals with non-metals, we can say that on one hand metals are shiny and non-metals are not shiny. Is it clear?
Metals are hard. They have high density. Exceptions: lithium, sodium, sodium is soft and we can cut it as if we were cutting cheese with a knife. Non-metal.
See, metal की जो characteristic है, when we see the characteristics of metal, we find that metals are hard, they have high density, but some exceptions are there. Example: sodium, lithium, and potassium. You can see that in this figure, sodium is cut with the help of knife and it is easily cutted. तो आप लोग समझ पा रहे हैं कि जो metals होते हैं, metals hard होते हैं और high density होती है, but some exceptions are there, जैसे सोडियम हो गया, लिथियम हो गया और पोटेशियम हो गया. और जब नॉन मेटल्स की बात करते हैं तो we can say that non metals are soft और इनकी density low होती है. ठीक है. One exception is given, that is diamond. We have read about diamond. It is the hardest substance. ठीक है. तो non metals कैसे होते हैं? Non metals होते हैं आपके soft और lower density के. But इसमें exceptions है, कुछ exception है diamond.
Metals are soft. The graphite form of carbon is soft, whereas its diamond form is exceptionally hard because of its cage-like structure. Diamond cutting tools are used for cutting sheet metals. Metals have high melting points and boiling points. Exceptions: gallium and strontium melt even at room temperature. Non-metals have low boiling and melting points. Exception: diamond is very hard and is used as a cutting tool.
So when we talk in terms of melting and boiling points, we see that metals have high melting point and high boiling point. One exception is given, that is gallium, and melting point is 29.7 degrees Celsius. That is such a high melting point and boiling point metals have. और नॉन मेटल्स की जब बात करते हैं तो नॉन मेटल्स का बॉइलिंग पॉइंट लो होता है और मेल्टिंग पॉइंट भी लो होता है. इसमें एक्सेप्शन है डायमंड ग्लास कटर, बिकॉज डायमंड इज द हार्डेस्ट सब्सटेंस. तो यहाँ पे आप लोगों को पता चलता है कि जो मेटल्स होते हैं हाई मेल्टिंग पॉइंट होता है, हाई बॉइलिंग पॉइंट होता है.
For glass and metal sheets. Metals have high tensile strength and are malleable. They can be expanded into sheets by heating and hammering. Non-metals are not malleable and become brittle on hammering. Metals can be expanded as rods and wires. They can be bent into different forms without breaking. This property of metal is called ductility. Look at this steel wheel being bent into a shape to form a fish lure. Can you imagine doing the same with a graphite rod? Non-metals are not ductile. Metals are good conductors of heat. Example: copper-bottomed vessels. Non-metals are not good conductors of heat. Metals are good conductors of electricity. Power cables are made of copper or aluminum wires wrapped with insulated material. Non-metals are not good conductors of electricity. Exception: graphite. Do not mark on a circuit board with pencil. Metals are sonorous. They make a ringing sound when they are.
सोनोरस का मतलब क्या होता है? सोनोरस मतलब that produces a ringing sound. ठीक है. तो metals कैसे होते हैं? metals sonorous होते हैं.
Hit. Example: ch3. Non-metals are not sonorous. Example: when we knock two pebbles, there is no ringing sound.
तो ये है metals और non metals की physical properties. When we talk in terms of appearance, तो metals कैसे होते हैं? metals की shiny surface होती है और lustrous होते हैं. और उसी की तरह
We light sparklers and crackers during celebrations. Do you think metals can catch fire? It is safe to conduct this experiment in a fume cupboard and using proper goggles and a Bunsen burner. Take magnesium ribbon. Cut a piece of magnesium ribbon. Hold the tip of the magnesium ribbon using a pair of tongs. Burn it in a Bunsen flame. The tip of the magnesium ribbon burns with brilliant white light. The ash collected on the tray is magnesium oxide. Metal combines with oxygen to give metal oxide. When we heat copper in air, it combines with oxygen and becomes black copper oxide. Similarly, aluminium reacts with oxygen and forms aluminium oxide, also called aluminium. On exposure to air, aluminium forms a white layer because of its reaction with oxygen. This white layer is a layer of aluminium oxide, also called white rust. This oxide coat over aluminium protects the metal from further rusting or corrosion. Anodizing is a technique of protecting aluminium by forming aluminium oxide electrochemically. The aluminium object to be protected is named the anode, and another aluminium plate is kept as the cathode. Sulfuric acid is the electrolyte. When a current of suitable voltage is passed through the metal, oxygen is involved at the surface of the anode and forms a white film of aluminium oxide. This white layer of aluminium is porous and adsorbs dyes of attractive colors. We can hardly avoid anodized aluminium particles in our daily life. Your mobile phone is also made of anodized aluminium. What is the nature of this metal oxide? Metallic oxide is basic in nature since it reacts with acid. Example, copper oxide. Alumina reacts with acids and also with bases. That is why aluminium oxide is amphoteric, that is, it is acidic as well as basic.
तो एम्फोटरिक कौन से होते हैं? एम्फोटरिक जो एसिड्स के साथ भी रिएक्ट करते हैं और बेसिस के साथ भी रिएक्ट करते हैं. तो यहाँ पर आप देख पा रहे होंगे कि ये हो गया एल्युमिनियम का बेसिक ऑक्साइड एंड दिस वन इज द एसिडिक ऑक्साइड. ठीक है. तो जब ये कैसे एसिड्स और बेसिस के साथ रिएक्ट करते हैं तो सॉल्ट और वाटर फॉर्म करते हैं. ये हो गए आपके एम्फोटरिक ऑक्साइड्स. Next come reactions of metal with water.
Let's consider gold first. Drop the gold ring into the water. Nothing occurs. Let's drop a piece of sodium metal. Metals are arranged in a table, the activity series, according to their reactivity. Potassium and sodium are at the top because they are the most reactive metals. Gold and platinum are at the bottom because of their low reactivity. Metal reacts with water to give metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Potassium reacts violently with water to give potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Similarly, sodium reacts with water to give sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Hence, we should keep them away from air and water. Can you guess how we can protect sodium and potassium from moisture and aerial attack? Click on the continue button.
So this all of you know how should we store potassium and sodium. Potassium और सोडियम को कैसे स्टोर कर रख सकते हैं?
We keep potassium and sodium immersed in kerosene. In this way, we can prevent them from coming into contact with moisture and air. Calcium reacts with water to give calcium hydroxide. Magnesium reacts with cold water slowly, but reacts with steam aggressively. Aluminum, zinc, and iron react slowly with steam. Silver and copper do not react with water, but are affected by air. Gold is not affected by water or air. Non-metals are not affected by water. Example, sulfur and phosphorus.
So here we can choose any of the three elements.
Iron reacts with steam to form iron oxide and hydrogen.
So potassium, sodium and calcium reacts with water and produce hydrogen. What is your observation? We have to tell our observation when potassium, sodium, calcium reacts with water. So the heat energy liberated by calcium is not sufficient for hydrogen to catch fire. आप देखेंगे कि जब कैल्शियम को डालेंगे तो जो हीट एनर्जी उसमें से इवॉल्व होगी, that is not sufficient for hydrogen to catch fire. ये है आपका सोडियम का रिएक्शन, then is पोटेशियम का रिएक्शन and कैल्शियम का रिएक्शन. ठीक है, this we have already studied in our NCERT books. जब सोडियम वाटर के साथ रिएक्ट करेगा तो क्या फॉर्म करेगा? पोटेशियम वाटर के साथ रिएक्ट करेगा, देन व्हाट विल बी फॉर्म? एंड जब कैल्शियम वाटर के साथ रिएक्ट करेगा, व्हाट विल बी फॉर्म? तो जब कैल्शियम वाटर के साथ रिएक्ट करेगा, जो हीट एनर्जी लिबरेट हुई है, दैट इज नॉट सफिशिएंट कि वो हाइड्रोजन पे फायर कैच कर जाए, हाइड्रोजन फायर कैच कर जाए. ठीक है, दिस हीट एनर्जी liberated by calcium is not sufficient for hydrogen to catch fire. And these reactions are called exothermic reactions because heat is evolved. Next comes reaction of metals with acids.
Let us perform an experiment to understand how different substances react with dilute hydrochloric acid. Take samples of magnesium copper and sulfur powder in different test tubes. Add 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid to each of the test tubes. After a few minutes, bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of each test tube. What is your inference from this experiment? Not all metals react the same way with hydrochloric acid. When the matchstick was brought near the test tube containing magnesium, there was a pop sound before the flame went out. Magnesium reacted with the acid to produce magnesium chloride, a salt. Hydrogen gas was released and burned with a pop when the matchstick was brought near it. Most metals react with sulfuric acid to give metal sulfates and hydrogen gas. For example, copper reacts with sulfuric acid to give copper sulfate and water and liberates sulfur dioxide gas. Watch this experiment. You can see copper reacting vigorously with nitric acid. It forms an irritating brown gas. It is poisonous nitrogen dioxide. Experiments of this type must be conducted only in a fume cupboard. When the solution is further diluted with water, it develops into a blue solution of copper nitrate. Copper is oxidized and nitric acid is reduced in this reaction. Gold is dissolved neither in concentrated hydrochloric acid nor in concentrated nitric acid, but in aqua regia. It is a freshly prepared mixture of concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in a 3:1 ratio. Aqua regia is also called royal water, since it dissolves the royal metal gold.
Do you have to balance the following reactions? So class 10th, today you have seen the physical properties of metals and non-metals and chemical properties of metals. That is, when metal reacts with oxygen, what happens? When metal reacts with water, what happens? When metal reacts with acids, what happens? So we have we have seen the chemical properties of metals and physical properties of metals and non-metals. So I hope आप लोगों को concepts clear हो गए होंगे. So today your work will be you have to read chapter 3 again. Whatever we have discussed today in DG, आप सबने वही read करना है so that